Hello, my YouTube folks. I've sure been turning out a lot of videos lately that are getting hardly any views, so at this point I am considering this a lot of self-therapy, I guess, because, I'm getting like 4 views per video and no comments, so, if I was really good at marketing myself or business or what have you, I'd probably have started my business a lot earlier, haven't started it at all, or have a lot more successful YouTube channel. So these are going to be just 7 things that I've kind of discovered I'm depressed about. I have and occasionally do still suffer from little periods of depression, like I think everybody does. Here comes Joe, so just please behave, okay? So hot. Why don't you sleep here in the bedroom where it's cool? Okay, number 1, I'm very depressed about my divorce, and things kind of surrounding it. The way it went down suddenly, kind of just being unloved and sort of tossed away. And then everyone's attitude about it, it's like because I wasn't happy in some ways, everybody thinks that I asked for the divorce, when that's not the case. She asked for the divorce. I'm very willing to try and work things out in a relationship. I don't think women are as willing to do that. They just handle things differently than us. But I am finding the whole divorce thing very difficult to cope with, and like I said, it was very rug pull style. We were moving to Oklahoma, and there were certain things that didn't go as planned there, probably on both ends. I felt like she wasn't meeting her obligations she agreed to achieve that goal, and she felt like things weren't happening quickly enough. But again, you drop balls on both sides of things in a relationship, and you either work that out, work through it, work past it, or I guess you get divorced. And there's not much of a middle ground a lot of the times, or there ceases to be one. I love you too, baby. Yeah, there's that. Number 2, I've been looking for a second job. We all have to have more than one job these days since January, since I got laid off in January, and it's just becoming more apparent that due to the job market, I'm gonna have to take a job that I essentially don't want. I'm kind of overworking in retail. That's not really something I want to do anymore, but there's a lot of that experience on my resume. I don't really want to work in a warehouse. I don't really want to work at a call center. I would like to get into some other type of customer service, but I'm just not finding anything, and it's becoming more and more evident that I'm just going to have to get into doing something that I'm just not interested in anymore. And that's very depressing, because it essentially means that there's nothing to look forward to. Yeah. And if there's nothing to look forward to, it feels awkward just to exist. Just to kind of. I don't know anyone in my personal life that really does anything they hate. Every friend I have seems to own their own company or have some type of autonomy in their schedule at the very least. And I find it very difficult to conceptualize that I'm literally the least like that any of my friends know. And that's very frustrating. I'm not sure how to remedy that. Everybody will say, like, you need to take more courses or this or that or the other, but I make less than $1,000 a month right now. Something like that isn't realistic. So the only answer is, I guess I just have to put up with some bullshit job that I'm going to ultimately really dislike, and then just keep looking until something else comes up. One moment. Sorry, had to get Joe to go elsewhere for a moment. Okay, number 3. Interim benefits have become really hard to get. It used to be that you could go into the Department of Health and Human Services and you could leave with your food stamp card that day, and it is not like that anymore. It now takes like days or maybe even weeks to get benefits like that, and a lot of the places that I would get benefits from tend to feel like I'm too single and too white, frankly. I hate to put it that way, but that actually leads to number 4 is in today's world, being a single white male is about the worst thing that you can be when you are in need of a job and benefits. Just a second. Sorry, he's kind of being frustrating. Yeah, being single and white is not this whole idea of white privilege. It doesn't exist. I have never been privileged as a white person. I've never gotten a job because I'm white. I grew up in the Rio Grande Valley, and that, if you look at the statistics for the area, it's like 120% Hispanic. So I grew up as a minority, and I've just now never felt like the color of my skin has gotten me anywhere. And lately I'm starting to feel like it's sort of setting me back. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people in my situation felt that way. But that's a very depressing thing, just to be looked at as different because of your appearance, and the color of your skin and stuff. Number 5, it feels like my cognitive abilities and motor skills are kind of starting to fade a little bit, for lack of a better term. My balance has gotten rough, and I'm just finding it a lot more difficult to learn new things. If I can completely concentrate on them, it's not so bad. But if I'm having to work like 2 jobs and go to school, it's just almost impossible to take on any like new meaningful information and really hang on to it. Now, that's probably a normal part of aging, but it's frustrating nonetheless. So that's gotten very difficult, because again, like everybody in your life is going to say stuff like, well, you should just go back to school, or you should just go take a course, or this or that or the other. Like, you have all this money to do that, or you can just get random funding to do that. It's not something that you can necessarily just pull out of your ass to do. It's a lot more complicated than that. A friend of mine was saying I should move back to the valley, because he could almost guarantee a job down there. Well, you can't fucking guarantee shit, okay? Right. Like, the only way I would find that as a guarantee is if that dude called me up and was like, I've got a $19 an hour job waiting down here for you. You start this day. That's a guarantee, okay? There's no way that I could really concentrate appropriately on some other course right now unless I was receiving some type of care benefits. And the use of college courses and stuff like that is really up in the air now. It's a very frustrating situation because I do like learning new things. I haven't completely lost the ability to do it. It is just simply that I have to be able to concentrate on that. And I can't have a lot of other things hanging over my head and, filling up my plate. If my plate is too full these days, I'm going to just toss it in the trash and not deal with it. I'm not trying to say that's a good thing or a bad thing, and I'm certainly not the only type of person that does that. But it is simply the way it is. With my current abilities, and to a certain extent, I think it's always been that way. I decided to quit trying to find money to go to school and take on student loans because I got like a $9.50 an hour job in the late 90s in the valley, and that was good money. And I thought, this place seems like they're going to be around a while. I'm just going to stay with them and work this job because, salaries typically go up instead of down, and this will make us all right for a little while. Okay. I guess Joe's tired of hearing that one. So, number 6, and this kind of relates to some of the stuff I was just talking about. No one seems to get me, or the way I think about things. I just marched to 2 different a drummer, I don't want to spend $100,000 on a house. I don't think houses are worth $100,000. I think you should drive your car into the ground. As long I drive a 1991 Honda Accord, okay? I think that we should be moving more towards a 2-wheel motorcycle country, rather than, taxing our grid more with electric vehicles and stuff like that. I don't share the same line of thinking as most human beings on the planet. And even though that can be kind of good in some ways, it does kind of isolate you at some point because people just don't get you. And when people have spent just a good amount of time not getting you, he's knocking everything off my desk. Have spent a good amount of time not getting you, you start to just feel isolated and alone. My wife got me to a certain extent, but I don't think she completely got me. And I do agree that assimilation is necessary in some ways. Like, when you do take a job, you need to go by the rules and protocols of that job, right? If you get benefits, there's certain things you have to do, and I've taken the benefits, so I'm accepting that I have to do those things, okay? So it's not that I completely don't assimilate. It's not that I completely don't assimilate. It's just I have a difficult time not thinking of things in an abstract way. I'm a big sci-fi watcher. You know, I'm not in the common pool of thinking that a lot of people are. I like to think outside the box a lot. And the last thing on my list for this is it's getting harder to maintain like my weight and my health, and I realize that this is a normal part of aging and everything like that, but I don't have to like it, you know. My weight's gotten out of control. I've been overeating kind of over this divorce and not finding work. I find the strength in my hands is starting to kind of really change and go as I get a little older. You know, strenuous exercise is really kind of painful now. I have a knot in my neck here that's been here for like 2 decades and has gotten to where like I can't even hold my neck in the same spot for too long. All of these things I've mentioned are probably things other people do go through and have gone through. They're probably not unique to me, but they're things I'm dealing with now. So there we go. That's 7 things that I'm currently pretty depressed about. Sorry for the feline interruptions, but I guess Joe's just kind of started to make himself part of the production. Why are you being... Anyway, I guess that's goemonronin and Joe signing off.